Awakening from lust was never about overcoming lust. It's actually a catalyst for realizing your true nature, which is just you being you in your presence, being content, just being is enough. But before we go through that spiritual evolution and process, where we're shedding all of our conditioning that says you have to be attractive, you have to have this certain amount of money, you have to have this, income bracket, or this job, or this prestige, or status, or looks, or attractive height, whatever, the list goes on forever, right? When you break through that and you realize more and more of your true nature, the freedom of just being yourself then shines through. So you are open to share yourself with others, but you don't have this pressure on yourself to be a certain way, to act a certain way for external validation. And I think this is why men globally are aware of the lust thing and wanting to overcome it, because it's symbolic of the hardest thing to overcome in regards to realizing your true nature. Because if you can overcome that, like that compulsive need to seek external validation, to be a certain way, to attract, people, I mean, like at first it can be quite daunting to have that shed from you. All the pressure we put on ourselves as men, or for women who watch my channel, as women, to look a certain way and be a certain way to attract a man. It's on both sides. We're acting based on our conditioning to have what we think we love in life. But the truth is, we already are everything we love in life. And the only thing that was stopping us from experiencing that was believing that we have to be different than who we are. And when I started to awaken, more and more to my, I guess you could say, my true self, which I just felt more peace within, I could see how my behaviors in the past were fueled by not just conditioning, but an inner tension to always seek something outside of oneself, or even if I wasn't seeking it, I would be acting in a certain way to try to be seen as attractive, or I'd have fear of being seen as just me, And for me, letting go of lust, which was, first letting go of corn, letting go of those habits, that was a big thing for me. And then letting go of like the need to even be someone to attract someone, because I realized that I just am whole and complete in one's nature. And I think this is what this is 100% what everyone is destined to realize, their true nature, in just being whole and complete in oneself. And the only reason I'm coming on these videos to make this is because I believe that through my experience of sharing the freedom of being free from this, I know that it will resonate with people who are meant to hear it, because that's all you need. I'm not going to come on here and tell you there's a technique, or you need to be better, or you need to do this, because then we can take that and use that as another thing to achieve, and the mind can run off with that. But I'm telling you, don't need any of that. What I'm saying is, you just being you in your nature is perfect, and we're always going to attract what is best for us when we're just being ourselves. It's funny, because the ego has us believe that, no, we got to act a certain way, we got to, put on the mask, but it's all an illusion of fear. And it's so freeing to just be yourself, realizing that everything that happens in your life is meant to be. And how I shifted into this was a process. It was over, at least 5 years, I'd say, but overcoming lust and seeing that really there's nothing to overcome. It's just, we see it as something that's so important, because we believe that we need to feed into that to be accepted, to be loved, to be approved. But then when you awaken spiritually, you transcend all that. And so it's just freedom, it's just experiencing peace and the love of who you are. And in that space, you're open to life, you're open to people on a level that is aligned with who you truly are.